Right there, guys, welcome back into the Spooky Shed, your go-to place for conversations around all things weird, scary, and of course spooky. He was the first guest we ever actually had in the shed, so it felt right to get him back at the start of this year. So we have got Joe from Tales, Trails, and Taverns back in the shed. Joe, welcome back to the shed. How are we?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, Leo. What's going on?
Good. That is the smallest microphone I've ever seen in my life.
It's like it's a lapel mic. So
Right,
it's just,
fair enough.
they're nicer than the big one that I have. So I started using these ones instead.
Fair play.
It works out pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I got the big boom on it, but it's all right. It works out pretty good.
It sounds fine. So it's all good. Right then, Joe. So like I say, you were literally the first guest I ever had in here, and that's just under a year ago, I think. So, and if I remember rightly, you left a piece of coal in here, which has been one of the stranger things that people have left in the shed. But then again, there's definitely been stranger. I mean, because there's been sex toys left in here. So,
oh boy, that sounds like fun.
I'll leave that one there where it is. But right, so do you just want to remind our listeners or any new listeners about you, about your podcast and what it's all about?
Yeah, so Tales, Trails, and Taverns is about the adventures, about the firsthand experience. We hike and explore haunted, creepy, or abandoned places. We dig into the dark history of it, and we give you a glimpse of like the ghost stories, the legends, where they came from, why they're there, and then what it's like to actually be there. So probably like 99% of the places that we've done episodes on are places that either me or my co-host Rob have actually been to ourselves, checked it out. So we like to give that firsthand experience. That's what it's all about. We do haunted forests, we do old abandoned forts, abandoned asylums, we do haunted taverns, haunted hotels, stuff like that. So we've done, and this is our third year doing the podcast. So it's been quite the ride, man. We've been a lot of different places, a lot of places that were on the bucket list when we started we have accomplished.
Yeah. I mean, I listen to your episodes quite a lot, to be fair, because like I say, I love the fact that you like go and you get that first-hand experience. You don't just do what I do. You don't just sit around talk about places that you haven't been to.
I mean, I love telling ghost stories, man. I'll never not want to tell ghost stories, but it's cool when you actually get to these places and you experience it. You kind of get the vibe of the place, and then especially if it's places that you go to all the time or like people go to all the time, and they don't know that because a lot of times the dark history, the spirit stuff, the ghost stories, that's not on full display when you go to these places. That's not the first thing you see. You see like, it's an old fort or it's a hiking trail. It's nice. There might be some rocks and ruins or stuff, but like you might not know it's a ghost town. You might not know of all the ghost stories and the legends and the witches and whatever else may have been creeping around there. So we like to tell those stories and check it out.
Yeah, see, I like it as well because I think sometimes, like I say, especially when you go to the places that are more well known, it's good to get your own opinion, your own experiences from it. Because funny enough, next week I'm going to do a paranormal investigation at what is reportedly one of the most haunted houses in the country over here. But there is so many like mixed reviews on it. The team that I'm going with, they say they've never had a bad experience there. But as far as like hauntings go, I've never had a bad experience. But then I've seen so many people say similar things, and then I've seen just the same amount of people say that it is shit. Nothing ever happens. It's a waste of time, waste of money. So I'm just looking forward to going just so then I can make my own opinion on it. Then so I think that's the real beauty of like say going to all these places to get your own opinions and experiences from them.
Yeah, and I mean there's a whole lot more to a lot of these places than just the ghost stories and the tragic past. I mean, some of these places like the S.K. Pierce Mansion, it is a gorgeous Victorian house. You know what I mean? It's a gorgeous mansion. The details when you're looking around inside the places is magnificent, and the stories themselves, just about how it was built, they're just, all those stories are amazing. And then there's other places where like it's haunted, like the Conjuring house. When you get there and it's it's not, you walk into these places, you expect to be like thrown out the door by some demonic possession, and it's just it's just an old house, man. It's like an old farmhouse. So it's super cool to see, and I love telling the stories. But yeah, so I know you've been doing some paranormal investigating yourself too. How's that going? I heard on one of your episodes something about screaming and running out of the woods at some point. What was that?
That was when me and Billy went to the woods near my house. There's been a lot of dark shit going on there. It's a very small woodland area. It's less than 10 acres, so I think it's only about 8 acres.
Oh yeah.
So it's very small for a woodland area. But there's been a lot of dark shit that's gone on there, like A lot of people have taken their own lives there, which is obviously horrific. Uh, weirdly enough, a bloke my dad used to work with, he shot somebody in there over drugs.
Oh
So
shit.
that's, yeah. There was two blokes like tortured and killed a dog in there, so that's really fucked up. The worst one was when was it? It was 2006, I believe, if I'm remembering rightly. A group of teenagers found a dead baby in a bag.
Holy shit.
So yeah, like I said, there's some really horrific shit that have gone on there. For such a small like area as well, like a lot has happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we went, and because there's an old abandoned house there, and there's an old hospital and old stables. And Billy set up his phone with an SLS app on it. So, I mean, I don't know how reliable that is, but I've tested it out quite a lot and nothing else has ever happened on it. So, could be something in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. We said that up in front of the house and we caught a stick figure on there. So that freaked the hell out of me. And then at the same time, his radar pod was going off. So I was like, when two things are going off at the same time, it can't just be coincidence. I was like, right, this is
Right.
fucking weird.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got I got a chance in October to go do a paranormal investigation, right? So I think we talked about it before. The house that I grew up in is down on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And the house was built
Mm,
in back in 1870s, 1890s, sometime around then by my grandfather's grandfather for his wife. And so a friend of mine who's a paranormal investigator, it's Heather Lopez. She goes by Haunted Hunter. She's been on my
mm,
show a couple of times. She came down there. She brought all of her stuff, all of her, the I don't think she had the SLS. I know she had the spirit box. She had the Ovulus. That's the one with the word
yeah.
bank, right? That spits
Mm,
stuff out. She has something that's called a tripwire. That's sort of like several different cat toys. You know those cat toy
mm,
type things where they move when you touch them. Several of
yeah.
those in a line, all connected together. And we spent a few hours in that old house. Like I asked my uncle. I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I go in there?" And he's like, "No, come take the key, go in there. Do whatever you want." And so we went in there, and she brought all her stuff and her two boys because they do stuff all over New England and beyond, New York and stuff. They do a lot of asylums, a lot of urban exploration. So she came down, she brought all her stuff with her, and it was like I know when you talk about paranormal investigations, it takes a long time. It's not like what we do, checking stuff out and just seeing stuff, and just telling the story real quick. Like it takes so much time when
Mm,
you're sitting in a haunted house and you're trying to get stuff. It is just it's hours and nothing happening. But what was really interesting is like she had the Ovilus on, and every time we were sitting there like trying to ask the spirits questions, nothing was happening. You know what I mean? Like you're asking it over and over again. You get a couple things through the spirit box, couple hits on the Ovilus here and there. But while I was telling stories about my family, while I was telling them like the history of the house, the history of my family, the different family members had passed and what they used to do, the obvious was chiming in, like sort of like if you're at a family gathering, you're telling stories and your older relative is in the corner going, "Oh no, that's not what she said. She said this, or she did that." Like it was like that.
yeah.
So it was like this super interesting, I don't know, very familiar
Yeah.
sort of investigation. It was really cool.
Mm,
And then the tripwire thing moved at one point. We caught it on video. The thing had been sitting on the couch for about probably like an hour, hadn't moved, and then all of a sudden it slid down the couch a little bit, stopped again, and then didn't move for the rest of the time.
yeah, that's weird.
Super cool.
Weird. That they said that's cool because that must have also been a bit of a almost a bit of a nice feeling for you as well then because that's it almost confirms then that like you said there's past family members that asked.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, and then my
yeah.
uncle actually came over to the house while we were there, and same thing happened. Like he started telling stories. He started talking about things that even I didn't know about in the family history,
Mm,
what room that certain family members had died in the house because
yeah.
like obviously this is generations that have lived in this house. And
Mm,
same thing, as soon as he started talking, the Ovilus just kept chiming in like and everything was like it had something to do with the conversation. Like it was almost like it was like correcting him. It's like it was
yeah.
his grandmother going, "No, no, no, that's not what she said. It was this person, or that's this person's
Mm,
story, or different year." You know what I mean?
yeah. But like that's one of them things for me then because like there'll be a lot of people that say like stuff like that is coincidence. But like I say, if that's happened to you and then it's happened with your uncle as well, then to me that's too much to be coincidence. Like as my friend Tommy says, like I'm getting very much to the point of not believing in coincidence anymore.
Right. Yeah. It was
Mm,
really neat. And I mean, there was a couple times when
yeah.
I was in that house and like I could feel the hair stand up on the back of my neck, and I'm like, "I don't know, I'm just relax. I'm not trying to damage. I'm not trying to steal anything. I'm your family member. Just relax." I used to live in this house. Like,
Yeah.
don't have to bother me.
But I think like recently I was gonna say found out. Well, I suppose I have. But basically, recently I've been told that my granddad is very much in my house a lot of the time. Obviously, like I say, he's not here
Yeah,
anymore. Obviously,
right.
and from stuff that I've been told and stuff that's happened recently, like, I'm very much starting to believe it. But also, like, I've been told that it's my granddad. But then there's also been times when I've been in the house on my own or just me and my son, and it feels like there's somebody else in the house. I don't know what room they're in, but it feels like there's
Yeah.
somebody else there. And even though in my head that I'm saying it's my granddad, it's still a weird feeling. Like I said, whether it's family or not, it's still odd. I'm still not used to that yet.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
How long has your family's been in the house for a while then?
No. I mean, I've lived in here for about nearly 4 years, and I'd say it's a new built house. I'm the only person who's lived in here.
Oh,
But I've been told it's because since my son's been born, basically, he comes to see him. He doesn't come to see me. He comes to see
that
my
makes
son
sense.
because
Yeah,
yeah, right.
that
But
makes a
my
lot of
son
sense.
recognises photos of him, which is really bizarre. So
Right.
we refer to my granddad when we're talking to my son as grandpa. So, like, if there's a picture of him, because I mean I've got a couple of pictures of him up in the house, and obviously other family members do, and like I'll say to my son, "Oh, where's grandpa?" And he'll point at that picture.
Yeah, he knows
And
exactly who it is.
we've not, like, sat him down in front of a picture and be like, right, this is grandpa. You know who he is.
Yeah,
He's just
yeah.
and like whenever he sees photos of him, he just sticks his hand out and starts like doing that. It's cool, but it's a bit freaky at the same time.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So let's jump into some locations you've been to this year, then, Joe. So I mean, I've wrote a couple down here, but I mean, I'll let you take the lead on whatever your favourites have been, or have been the most active, or whatever.
Yeah, let's see some of the ones I've been to this summer. I'm telling you, man, I've been to a ton of places. Over the summer though, we took a break from podcasting over the summer.
Hmm.
I don't know if you caught that. We took 3 months off because I was finishing writing a book, and Rob actually decided to he wrote a screenplay last year, and he decided that he
Nice.
was gonna make a movie. So he got the funding, he hired the crew and everything, and he decided he's making a horror movie. He's calling it The Res. And so they went out to Freetown State Forest, which is one of the most haunted locations. It's one of the most haunted forests in the world, is
Hmm.
what it comes down to. Even a president one of the presidents has seen a UFO over the Freetown State Forest. Like, there is ghosts, there's puckwudgies, there's part of the satanic panic back in the 70s and 80s. There's been murders out there. There's been UFO sightings, Bigfoot sightings, puckwudgies, fairies, all that kinds of stuff has been seen out in the Freetown State Forest. So he
Nice.
spent he spent a little over a month out there with his film crew, filming in the forest because they wanted to do it in the pet cemetery in Fall River, but it was like
Hmm.
it was a little too far of a hike to go out there, so they filmed it a little closer to the road, but still in the forest. And God, I was asking about like what kind of stuff that was going on. We sat down with the woman Erica who played the villain in the movie, and she was talking about some of the stuff that they experienced while they were out there in the woods because they were out there till a few times they were out there till 6 in the morning in the woods,
Yeah.
just just doing the filming and doing the scenes, and a lot of them were talking about being felt like they were being watched the whole time, being felt like things were walking through the woods and stuff like that. And it's like, so you're making this horror movie, and it's all about Satanism and murder and stuff like that, and they're out here in this woods that has definitely had its fair share of Satanism and worship and murder, and then they start having all these experiences out there. So she was telling us she's a paranormal investigator as well, and she goes to like urban exploration places. And when she sat down and talked to us, she was telling us that the first time she ever saw a spirit was after coming back from the Freetown State Forest and doing the filming in that location. She said she saw, I can't remember if she called it a mimic, but she said she saw a figure standing at the foot of her bed who looked exactly like her boyfriend, looked like a shadow version of her boyfriend. And when she got up and like went to see what the hell he was doing, why he was standing at the foot of the bed, she rolled over and he's laying in bed with her.
Oh,
And
that's
she's like,
awful.
this is the first time she'd ever seen a spirit herself. Like, she's been to all kinds of abandoned places, Laconia, fucking Norwich State Hospital, all the normal places you go to around here, the big places,
Mm.
and super creepy shit. So he's working on that. He's working on that movie. It's still in the process of it's still in the production process currently, but we're
Yeah.
hoping at some point that's gonna come out. I got to do a cameo in it, which was super cool. My son got to
Nice.
come out to the woods and watch me try doing my best to act in front of a camera.
Mm.
It was
Oh,
super fun, man. The
that'll
drone
be
was up,
cool.
yeah.
I mean,
No, it was
I
awesome.
love the horror movies, so I'm gonna have to keep my eye out for that because that sounds cool.
Yeah, we'll make sure I'll make sure I send you a link to it because I know he's trying to.
Mm,
He's worked with the production company. He's working with a production company that has had several movies go to Netflix and go to the streaming services.
mm,
So he's hoping to get it
nice.
he's hoping to get it for a theatrical release as well as a streaming service. But he's like, I'll do a streaming service too. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, well,
I mean,
you can't sell the rights to Tales, Trails, and Taverns because
yeah, I mean, either way, that's gonna be cool as fuck, whichever way it goes. Like I said,
yeah.
that must be the hardest type of acting to do. Then, where you're acting out this shit, but there's also real shit going on around you.
I know, and
That must take some doing.
that's why he wanted to do it
Yeah,
like that. He's like, I want to do
mm,
a horror movie about the Freetown State Forest and actually film it in a haunted location. Like I want that to be the you know the niche to his movie. And he filmed a
mm,
scene. So like the movie is based on podcasts, and it's actually based. He
yeah,
uses Tales, Trails, and Taverns in it, and it's based on characters that are based on me and him going out in the woods
mm,
and doing a live podcast, sort of the kind of shit that we do, and then running into this satanic murder cult. And he actually did a scene and he got to go to the Lizzie Borden house and they did like a podcast live from the Lizzie Borden house, which we haven't actually done yet. We haven't gone to the Lizzie Borden house. Like, so you got to go with it, but you didn't invite me to go to the Lizzie Borden house and pretend watch them podcasts, watch them do something we haven't done yet. It was super cool
yeah.
though.
That is cool. That is, like I said, I'm definitely gonna have to keep my eyes open for that because that sounds class.
Yeah.
So some of the ones that I wrote down was because obviously, like I said, I know you and Rob are both veterans and stuff, and I remember the Tun Tavern. Is that how I'm saying it? Yeah.
Yes, Tun Tavern, yeah. So that's actually a new location. So Tun Tavern is the birthplace of the United States Marine Corps. And
Nice.
this year or last year was the 250th birthday of the Marine Corps, which is, started on November 10th in 1775. So this November 10th I got to go down there because they reopened. So the original location of Tun Tavern is actually where the highway is now. So they can't put a
Right.
restaurant in the middle of the highway. So a Marine that owns the rights to Tun Tavern actually bought another restaurant. It's maybe a 8-minute walk from the sign that marks the location, the original location. And so he bought a tavern, named it Tun Tavern. He's going to do a complete refurbishing of the place to make it look like the original 1700s version of the tavern.
Mm,
And so the tavern was built in like, I want to say 16, and then it burnt down actually in the late 1700s, and it was never
mm,
rebuilt again. But that was super cool. So I decided on a whim to drive to Philadelphia and see one of the first days that this place was open. And then while I was down there, I also got to go to Independence Hall, which is where the Second Continental Congress was. It's where the American government was for the first 10 years after they, fought for their sovereignty or whatever, and all that shit. So, no, I was super excited to go down there and check that out. I've been listening to the biography of Alexander Hamilton, the whole 30-hour audiobook, learning all
yeah.
about his entire life and about how he built America, essentially the banking system, the Federal Reserve, how we got
Mm,
all the colonies together. So a lot of history in that town, a lot of history in
yeah.
Philadelphia.
Definitely. Mm, yeah. That's cool that he's managed to actually like buy a tavern then that's actually so close to where the original one was. Then, like I said, if it's only like
Yeah.
10 minutes away, like at least it's
Yeah, it's not
still
that far at all.
pretty
Yeah.
much where it was. Yeah, like I say, that'll be cool as well. Like you say, especially like say if he's renovated to how the original one was, that'll look cool.
That would be awesome, yeah. Because I think he's gonna go for like the what it looked like when the Marine Corps started. So the
Mm,
1775 style, the very colonial 2-story
yeah,
front and a third story in the back that kind of pushes out. And they want to do like a tavern downstairs and a big hall to have
mm,
events. This
yeah,
should be awesome. That's gonna be a place
yeah,
I'm gonna go back to a couple times.
yeah, definitely, yeah. Another one I wrote down was again, I think I'm saying this right, the Omni Washington Hotel.
Yeah. So the Omni Mount Washington Hotel is the one in Baxton, New Hampshire, Burton, New Hampshire. Starts with a B.
Nice. Yeah,
It's near what the hell is that called? Yeah. Oh my God, I'm gonna remember the name of this mountain at some point. So there's a valley where the Saco River runs through out there, and it's right near that area. And
mm,
I'll remember it at some point. Probably in another 20 minutes after I stopped talking about it. But I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. That place was super cool. I was up there for a bachelor party weekend. And so
Nice.
one of the days everybody was going golfing and I don't golf. So I was like, man, fuck it, I'm going to go hiking. And I actually hiked the Nancy Burton Trail, which we've talked about Nancy Burton before. She was she was a young woman who lived in New Hampshire, and she had a fiance or a boyfriend, and he decided to steal all her money and run away and leave her in this town in New Hampshire in the middle of the winter. And so Nancy, in the
What a
middle
dick.
of the night, yeah, what's that?
I
Yeah,
said,
what a
what a
dick.
dick.
Yeah. So Nancy, wearing like just a dress and not a whole lot of anything, decided that she was going to track him down. She was the first woman who had come up through this valley, up to this notch, the Crawford Notch. Yeah, got it.
There you go.
So she was the first white woman to have gone through the Crawford Notch to get to where she got. And so she grabbed all her stuff, packed very light, and decided to chase his ass down because fuck this guy, right? And
Fair
so
play.
she hauled off into the night. I think she at some point got to his camp that he had just left not too long ago, and then she got to a point where she had to cross a brook and either fell into the brook or got her dress completely soaked, or there was a bad storm going on. She sat down next to the brook. She ended up freezing to death at the side of the brook. And the next day, the townsfolk in the morning, they were like, "Oh, we got to go find this girl." And they followed her tracks through the snow and they found her, frozen there on the side of the brook. And they ended up calling that Nancy Brook. The mountain is now Mount Nancy. And then apparently the guy who had taken all the money and left to go do whatever the hell guys do back then, apparently he was so distraught by the fact that she followed him and then died in the wilderness that he ended up in a mental institution. He died. He was institutionalized for the rest of his life and died not long after.
I kind of want to say good, but that sounds horrible.
Yeah. So the stories. Yeah. So the stories are that if you go into the woods, a lot of hunters have experienced, like, you'll hear crying, you'll hear sobbing, you'll hear all kinds of disembodied voices in the woods near. And I actually went up there. I hiked up the brook, crossed the brook, came back down, and I poked around for a little bit. And I finally found the spot where it's not a proper grave, but it's like a pile of rocks along the riverbank, along the brook side, where, is Nancy's supposed resting place. Because when they found her, when the townsfolk found her, they buried her right where they found her alongside the brook. They didn't move her body back or anything like that. So she's supposedly still there, and checked it out, found that spot. Now, Mount Washington Omni Hotel is super. I don't remember the whole history of it. I know there's a few different legends. I think the woman who owned it, after the guy who built the place died not long after he built it, and then his wife took it over and she stayed. I mean, she was there. Apparently, she was there every year. She had her own suite. She was there all the time. Spent mostly summers there. I think it closed during the winter time back then. Like, it was harder to keep places like that open all winter. New Hampshire is harsh in the wintertime. So back before there was plumbing and heating, keeping places open like that was tough. So they would close it down for the winter. So she was there every summer, and now apparently she still haunts her room. Apparently her suite is open for rent. So you can go there and you can stay there and you can stay in her suite. And apparently she visits quite often, hangs around there. So definitely a cool place. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful place to be. I mean, the backdrop of the mountains.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I'm still yet to actually see any sort of full body apparition, and I was saying this last night when I was recording. I still don't know if I want to, because I have no idea how I will react.
Well, the thing that I've noticed when people talk about seeing stuff like that, seeing full body apparitions, it's usually so quick that you don't even realize what you're seeing until afterwards. You're like, wait a minute, that was not normal. That was not a person. What the fuck was that? You know what I mean? Like when Rob saw somebody who he thought was dressed like a nurse in the men's ward at the Norwich State Hospital. He said he walked down the hallway, looked down, saw the guy standing there. It was like, oh crap, somebody found us. And then looked around to see where his friend was, then looked back and the guy was gone. And that's when he was like, oh shit, that was Yeah. And then when I was at the Charlestown, the General Stanton Inn in Charlestown, and I walked in this hallway and I caught like what I thought was a little girl standing in the hallway out of the corner of my eye. And so like I see it and I look and it looks like it's just there's the end of a table and like a tablecloth hanging off of it. I'm like, okay, my mind's just playing tricks on me. Like that's obviously there's no little girls in this place, right? And then the owner, about 5 minutes later, the owner tells me, oh, there's three ghosts that haunt this place. There's the general, there's a little girl, and I don't remember what he said after that because I just my mind was right back to what I had just seen, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't really I don't think you
Well,
have time to
it's
even
always little
comprehend
girl
it.
ghosts, and yeah.
I mean, they're not going to be like they are in
You think,
Victorian tales, you know.
yeah. Like I said, I feel like I'd want to see something because then it'd almost give it that. I think that would give me that last final bit of 100% confirmation that I need. Whilst I definitely, like you say, even just like just this year since we last spoke, I believe in a hell of a lot more now. Like I said, just going off experiences that have happened this year, I believe in a hell of a lot more now. But there is still a little bit of skepticism in me, which I think will always be there. But I think then that'll be more when doing investigations, not jumping straight at any noise you hear. Like, 'cause that's one thing I hate when you watch investigations and stuff on YouTube or whatever. The first noise, everybody's like, "Oh, shit, what was that? That was definitely a ghost." And I'm just like, it could be there's so many things that it could be, and it's every I hate it when people just jump straight to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got a question for you then. What is if you went out and did a paranormal investigation, what is a piece of evidence? What could you see and record that would definitely convince you that it was a ghost? Like what do you think it would have to be theoretically?
Well, if I was like if I was taking photos or recording and like, well, and then I look back at the photo, I look back at the video, and there's somebody there that I know for a fact wasn't there, then that
Yeah.
will definitely do it. But I don't know. I mean, I think EVPs are cool. I think I still haven't caught anything on that yet, but I'd love something like that to happen. I like spirit boxes and stuff like that, but I mean, they are essentially just a radio, and obviously
Yeah, right.
99% of what comes through that probably is just other radio signals. So, like I say, I
Yeah.
think I need to see something, like I say, either on a photo or a video that I've taken that I know isn't tampered with or anything, or I literally just need to see something like sat in front of me here.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Sits down, has a conversation with you, comes on the podcast.
Yeah,
That's definitive.
yeah, exactly. I mean, to be fair, Billy's old chair is still in here for if the fucker ever wants to come back in here, and that chair has moved twice when I've been sat here, which is really fucking weird.
Oh yeah, it's moved while you're in there. That's
Mm.
cool.
Yeah. Well, there's been a couple of things that have happened in here. So one of the first times I was in here, the door just opened really, really slowly. And I mean, it was obviously just the fucking wind because yeah,
Yeah.
I live in fucking England, so it's windy as hell all the fucking time. But it was how slowly it opened. It probably freaked me out. And then, like I said, the two times the chair has moved, and then there was one time. So I have a lock on the inside now, so you think it's so it can't open because that freaked me out to hell.
Right.
And I just had a padlock on it and the keys. And I think it was in November last year. I can't remember who I was recording with, but I just remember looking up because the door's right in front of me. And the keys were just like moving a lot more than they would be if it was the wind. So that was fucking weird. Because I
Wow.
literally stood up, went over and stopped them moving, and they didn't move again. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether that was anything, but
Well, that's cool. That actually reminds me of something that I went to not too long ago. So this was a couple weeks ago. There's a place in North Kingstown in Rhode Island called the Carriage Inn, and I'd heard this place was haunted from a couple of the bartenders at the general stand. The bartenders were like, "Oh, yeah, have you been to Carriage Inn yet? That's haunted. That's definitely one you should go check out." So I went in there just on a Friday night just to hang out and have a couple beers and see if anybody would talk to me. So I sat down and I was chilling there for a while, and I got to talking to one of the guys sitting next to me, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, the reason I'm here is like I heard the place is haunted, so I wanted to come down here and have a beer, check it out." He's like, "Oh, it's definitely haunted. You should ask the bartender." He's like, "Jess, come tell this guy is it haunted or not." So I got to talking with the bartenders, one of the servers, and they started describing the entity as like the dark one or something like that, talking about how he doesn't like me. I'm not going upstairs or downstairs or anything like that. So, and then another gentleman at the bar was like, "Hey, do you want a tour? Do you want to take a walk around up and down, check it out?" And I was like, "Yeah, like
yeah.
let's do this." So we grabbed the bartender and we go upstairs, we go downstairs, we're checking it all out, and he's showing me this. They're telling me all this different stories. They're like, there's this one mirror in a hallway downstairs. They're like, a lot of times people take selfies in the mirror, and then something will be behind them. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I took a couple pictures. Obviously, I didn't see anything in there, but then there's this little there's this little cage with a lock on it where they keep all their stuff downstairs, and they're telling me about how, like, sometimes you can see the lock swinging and, there's nothing, like, pushing it there or whatever.
Mm.
So I'm like, "That's awesome. These are all super cool stories." So I go back upstairs, sitting down at the bar, and the bartender and one of the servers is telling me the same thing. They're telling me the stories, and they're like, "Oh, we got pictures and we got videos." I was like, "Okay, well, send them to me, and I wanna see these." And so sure enough, they sent me one picture, and it's a picture of the mirror with somebody taking a selfie, and behind her, there's nothing back there that can look like this, but it looks like you could see, like, this translucent figure wearing, like, a chef's coat with the 4 buttons, you know what I mean? Kind of the one over coat, and
Yep,
you
I
could
wear
see his
one every
head.
day.
Yeah, you can see his head and shoulders, but you can see his shoulders, and it's kinda dark where his head is, and,
Mm.
I tried lightening up the picture, and it actually, the face kinda comes through when you start lightening up the picture, it's really weird, and then the server sent me a video, and it was of the lock, and I'm watching this video, and it's a good 30 seconds or so of this, it's like a master lock, but it's like one of the long master locks, got, like, the 6-inch, you know, kinda, hook on it or whatever,
Yeah.
and the thing is just it's sitting there, and it's just swinging back, like, unnaturally, you know what I mean? You know when you, like, flick a lock or something, like, it takes a couple swings and it settles, and this thing is just going for, like, a good 10 seconds, it's just swinging back and forth like somebody is just pushing it. I'm like, "That's a really good video." Like, 'cause there's nothing there that's making this thing swing. I mean, it's a solid
Mm.
structure. There's nobody there. They're videoing it from across the room. You could tell they're all the way across the room, and it would not have swung that long if somebody just flicked it, ran away, like, it would have stopped by the
Yeah.
time you started taking a video like that. So, that was a super cool experience, especially just walk in there and be like, "Oh, pour me a Guinness, and anybody know any ghost stories?"
Yeah, well, like I said, like that's why I'm really fucking annoyed with myself because I panicked that much when I saw the keys just moving for as long as they were, and at
Yeah.
the same speed. Like I say, they didn't slow down or anything. I hate myself now because I'm like, why didn't I just get my phone and just record it there? Like, I'm
Right.
literally sat here in front of it. I should have just recorded it, but I was like, nope, don't like that. So I just got up and stopped and moving. And like I say, it's never done it before, and it's never done it since. And I mean, I've had nights in here where I thought the fucking roof was going to come off because of the wind, and even then they've never moved. So I
Yeah.
said that was definitely weird. The one thing I'll say about that with the possible person in the mirror, if they are a chef, do not annoy them because they're not people that you should annoy.
Okay. Don't annoy the chefs, yeah.
Don't piss off a chef, and definitely
No,
don't
you
piss off a
never know.
close chef.
Sounds good. I'll remember that.
Yeah. So I wrote down as well, and I'm surmising you'll be able to have a lot to talk about this because I know you've done the two-parter on it. So Gettysburg's. First of all, I'm
Oh,
going to
yeah.
need you to tell me a little bit more about it because I don't really know a lot about it because to be honest, I'm not very clued up on American history. My
Yeah.
knowledge on American history comes from the fucking movies National Treasure. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So, not very much at all then.
I mean, I know like the relevance of it, but I don't know, like I say, a great deal about it at all. But I know there's a lot of stuff happened there.
Yeah, so, the way Gettysburg was in the North technically, and all the
Mm,
fighting up until that point had been in the Southern states. They'd kept all the fighting in the South, and the South was getting beaten pretty bad, right? And,
mm,
I think General Lee decided that they were going to make a push into the North. They were going to break through the barrier. They were going to push into the North. I think they were going to take Gettysburg, and then we're going to move on to another city. I think they might have been trying to push towards Philadelphia,
mm,
but they wanted to start by taking Gettysburg, getting a foothold in the North they made it from the Pennsylvania border up to Gettysburg basically untouched.
mm,
The battle started out as almost by accident because the North didn't know they were coming. The North had no idea that they were moving in. This wasn't expected at all. And then there was some troops. I think there was some Northern troops that kind of caught them coming into Gettysburg, and they didn't make a good stand the first day. The North got decimated. They got pushed. They got pushed into Gettysburg. The lines broke because they didn't have enough men holding it. So the South got a really good foothold on the first day, and then on the second day I think there was a lot more fight. I think the second day was when the Battle of Little Big Top happened, and Little Big Top was God, I think they were pushing up Little Big Top. The South was pushed. They
mm,
came through the Devil's Den. I think it's called Devil's Den. It's a big rock formation, and it's kind of crazy looking. And it's one of the most haunted places in Gettysburg. Is this Devil's Den, this rock formation. And apparently they pushed over that. They pushed up to the bottom of Little Big Top Hill. They started pushing up the hill, and they were almost at the top. And then the North like decided to just say fuck it and just charge down after them, like just ransacked them, pushed them back. And then the third day they decided to just do an all-out push straight into the lines, like just throw everything they had at the Northern troops and try to take them out. And so they they tried to get all their men all together, one field, and walk a mile uphill across this field straight into cannon fire and try to take the North out. And they just got absolutely slaughtered. Like,
Mm.
I mean, they're just walking straight into cannons and just getting blown to shit. Like they were talking about how people were saying that a whole fire team of men would just disappear in a cloud of dust, like a cloud of red dust.
Mm.
You know, just the cannons were just blowing them apart. And so it was 3 days in July. I think it was first, second, and third. So, don't quote me exactly on it, but it was
Yeah.
beginning of July. So it was in the summer heat. And then there was 28,000 men in total who died in those 3 days in Gettysburg. And
Shit.
it's a massive field. And we underestimated like how much we could see in the short amount of time that we went there, because it was sort of on the way. It wasn't really on the way. We went out of our way to get there on the way to Penhurst Paracon, which is the big, like, it's the Paracon that they do in the Penhurst Asylum every year in May.
Yeah.
And so we went there and we thought like, oh, we'll stay there for a few hours. We'll get the gist of Gettysburg. No, it's you could spend a week hanging out at Gettysburg to see everything. It's such a massive amount of space. Let me put it this way: the driving tour takes, they said, between, if you want to do the driving tour, like drive yourself while it talks about all the different places that you're driving by, it takes 2 to 3 hours and covers 27 miles of driving.
Bloody hell.
And we were there for only 3 hours, and we were
Yeah.
walking around most of the point. So, but I mean, we saw the Devil's Den, we saw Little Big Top, we saw what was the wheat fields, which was what they called it, the whirlpool of death. There was so many people who died in this one particular field. We saw the main field, the graveyards. We saw the big national cemetery where Lincoln made the 7 years ago, the Gettysburg Address. It was up on, there was a big monument there where he made the speech. And so it was impressive. And then, so not only did we do the 2 episodes on Gettysburg, because we talked about what it was like to be there, first of all, because we talked a little bit about being at Gettysburg and checking it out. Then we actually did specifically the history and the hauntings at Gettysburg, because there's a ton of hauntings. There's a ton of history there. So we talked about the 3 days of battle, everything that happened there. But I also had Christina from Sasquatch and Sourdough on to talk about her experiences at Gettysburg, because for a long time, she lived about an hour away from there. And so she'd been there quite a bit, and she's had a lot of different experiences there. So she came on and actually told about all of her personal experiences at Gettysburg. So a lot to cover, so much to cover. I mean, if you're going to go to Gettysburg, at least do a long weekend there. There's so much cool stuff. We wanted to go into one of the restaurants that was one of the original buildings that was still there, that was part of I can't remember if it was like a hospital, like a field hospital during the battle, or if it was something else, but we tried to get in. No fucking way. It was, the line was out the door around the corner,
Yeah.
We were like, nah, we'll go somewhere else to eat.
Yeah. That is, like I said, that is some crazy history. Like, it's, I mean,
It's mind blowing.
yeah, like you say, especially like you say that many people in, like you said, the space of 3 days. That is crazy. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We were talking about the battle, and me and Rob, we both served in the Marine Corps. We both served in Iraq, during the Iraq War, and we're both looking at each other like this. Like, I couldn't imagine serving in a battle like this compared to what we did. Like, did we even serve? Did we even fight in a war compared to these guys? Like, is my PTSD, is it even justified compared to what these fucking guys went through? It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it's just. It's crazy, and I think I said to you before. I just always say anybody who does that for whatever reason, fair play, hats off. I know for a fact I couldn't fucking do it. It's just one of them things. Like, fair play. They say you deserve all the credit you get. So you mentioned there as well that obviously in the summer that you were finishing a book. So am I right in saying that this will be the 3rd book?
The 3rd book, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the 3rd book that I finished up over the summer. And
You wanna tell us a bit more, like?
I decided to dive into erotic romance with that one. So I went a
Well,
little outside of
wasn't expecting that.
I went a little outside of my comfort zone with that one. So yeah, that's this one. claimed in Stars and Chains, and it's an erotic romance with aliens and interstellar stuff. It's interesting to say the least.
That is literally the word I was going to use. That sounds very interesting.
It's much different from
I'm gonna have
this
to
book.
read that movie out of curiosity because that,
I got
yeah.
there's a good buddy of mine, and I'm friends with him and his wife. I've been friends with them long before they were even married. And she goes, I can't read your book because every time I open it up and try to read it, I hear it in your voice, and I can't. She's like, I can't do that. Like, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. So, right, well, I need to ask where the idea came from for that then.
Jesus, it's been so long. I started this book so long ago. I don't know where the original idea came from. I think it was something I thought of like years and years ago, and I just thought, "Ooh, wouldn't it be cool if there was like a, alien, romance with an alien?" I kind of just went off the deep end with that one.
I was really hoping that you were gonna say that you watched Alien and then watched like 50 Shades of Grey or something.
I want to mix the two. Yeah. What happened if Ridley Scott, fucking whatever his name is? I'm sure it's like Trevor Dark or something like that. I don't know. I never read 50 Shades of Grey. But
No, I've never read it, but I was forced to sit through the movies, and
I know that like so many people I know, so many, especially women that I know, they all read this stuff, So I was like, obviously it's got to be popular. And, I mean, how hard is it to write about having sex? It's just everybody does it. Everybody has a good time doing it. And I write all the
that's
time.
what
So like, yeah, talk about it, man. Everybody does it. Just write
yeah.
about it. So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
true. Yeah, because I know we're sort of going off the topic of the paranormal and stuff here, but
Well,
it's
there's
weird.
aliens. So
Because, like, a lot of people would get very like, what's the fucking word I'm looking for? I don't know. They get a bit judgy about sort of stuff like that. Like, oh, it's smut or whatever, and I'm just like, well,
I mean, no, it
every
is
stuff.
smut. Yeah, percent. Yeah.
But like I say, you're right. Like I say, we've all done it. We all do it. I mean, so why not?
Why not? And it's
Exactly.
I
Throw some
mean,
aliens in
it's
there
been
even
fun.
better.
It's a super interesting experience because it's definitely taken me out of my comfort zone, whether it's writing it, publishing it, having to sit down and talk about it. Definitely, like, it always takes you out of your comfort zone. You don't, it's not a normal thing to do, not something
Mm.
that everybody does, but it's
Yeah.
fun. It's been fun. So
Yeah, I can
I had a good
imagine.
time with it.
Just please don't tell me that it's illustrated.
It's not. There's pictures though.
Oh god, that I'd care to see.
Yeah, no, it has nothing to do with the podcast. Obviously, the book I did that had to do with the podcast was the Haunted New England, and that's
Mm.
this one here. It's History, Legends, and Lore of the New England area. That was a little more podcast orientated.
Yeah.
So and then obviously Rob wrote the movie, which is definitely also based on the podcast. So it's super fun to have like, oh, we got Tales, Trails, of Taverns, we got a blog, we got a podcast, we got a book, and now we're gonna have a movie pretty soon. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I can't wait till it to be on Netflix and then like have people come over and watch it and be like, oh, look, there I am.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
The cameo.
that would be cool as fuck. That would be cool as fuck. One thing, like I said, I mean, a lot of people have got into a lot of podcasters that I know of. Obviously, how do I say this? Well, they've tried their hand at writing, and some with more success than others. I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always something I've wanted to try myself because I used to always like writing stories when I was a kid and stuff, and obviously when Billy was about, we had our little terrifying tale series where we come up with all our
Yeah, I
stories
remember
and
that.
stuff. It is it's hard to do
It can be, yeah.
to write any. For me, it's writing something of any sort of length because I always just worry that I'm going to forget what I've wrote at the beginning and then I'm going to write something and then it's just going to completely contradict what I've written before. That's the thing that really worries me.
I had that happen. I wrote my first book and I published it. And I published it in paperback. And so a few of my family members and close friends had started buying it. And my sister texted me and goes, you killed the character and then brought him back in the next chapter. And I'm like, shit. Like, well, I better go fix that, I guess. And it wasn't anything big. It was just like he dies in one chapter. The next chapter, I'm just talking about him being part of the crew again. Like, totally forgot that I'd killed this character off. But it happens sometimes. I mean, inconsistencies happen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know,
I've started writing some. I don't know. I don't know what how far it'll go, whether I actually do anything with it. But I have been writing something that's vampire related, I'll say, because you know I like my vampires. Obviously, you went to
Yep.
basically what's the grave?
Mercy Brown. I was there.
Don't know
I
why
was there
don't know why
yesterday. Yeah, I
that-
decided to try my hand at doing TikTok live, so I started a live while I was
Mm.
in the graveyard. I was trying to
Mm.
figure that out.
Yeah, TikTok lives are a strange
They are
thing to
weird.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but so like I said, I mean that's something I'm working on slowly in the background of doing this, but I say whether it goes anywhere or not, I don't know. Time will tell.
Right. I'm still in the middle of Shell's book. Shell's Spooky Stories, her book, the one that she
Oh
wrote.
yeah.
And I'm still this one.
Mm.
I'm still in the middle of that.
Aye. Yeah. Well, Shell painted that for me.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not really. That's all fucking. I don't know if you've listened to my episode when she was on my podcast, because there's a really weird bit on there where for some reason her microphone picks up some audio that is not her.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, and Shell has a haunted doll, which that is a painting of, and
Oh,
I told her about it. It freaked me the hell out because I really don't like haunted dolls. They freak the shit out of me. I don't like
oh
them
man,
at all.
I was gonna when you were talking about putting something in the shed, I was gonna ask you if you wanted another haunted doll. So I heard you talk about that in one of your
No,
episodes.
don't need any more. Don't need any more. The people have left too many in it, and now I've got a fucking painting of one. So, but so, like I say, she done it for a present, so I do appreciate it. It was really nice, and like I said, I mean, it's pretty good to be fair. I think personally, but
Yeah, I like it.
but as long as it is, I just said to her, as long as it's not actually haunted, or I will be putting it on the fire. So if it starts moving now, like I said, because if I come in one day and its eyes are facing the other way, I was like, it is. I'll burn the full shed down. Start
Oh,
again.
that would be funny. That'd be funny if she made like a second one with the eyes going the other way, like snuck in and put it on there while you weren't in.
Oh, don't give her ideas.
Oh man, listen, when I was in Iraq, right, my second tour, I had this roommate, and somebody sent us. I don't know if he sent it to us or somehow I got my hands on this like creepy little plushy doll, and it was like this little monkey thing or something, or I don't know, whatever the hell it was. It was weird. It was like a little had big eyes, you know. And so I was like, I would move it around the room. I would like put it in his wall locker, put it on top of his wall locker, put it in his bed, and like in different places. And it would take like he wouldn't see it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then one day he'd just be like, "Oh my god, there it is!" And like it'd be like in his shit, like behind something, and he'd freak out. You know, he tried. At one point, he went and he threw it in the garbage and like took the trash out. And of course, I went out and dug it out of the garbage. You know, brought it back, and like 2 or 3 weeks later he finds it somewhere else in his shit, and that kept going on the entire time we were there. Finally, I think he had taken it one time and he was like, "I've had enough of this." He took his K-bar and he cut the head off it, right? Threw it in the garbage. I was like, "We're not done with this thing yet." Took the head and I held on to it for a while, and then like we went from our little cans, our little rooms or whatever, and we all moved into this big tent together that had like bunk beds in it. And this was like the last couple weeks before we came home. And so he was on the bottom bunk, and he was sleeping in the middle of the day. Like we weren't doing anything. He's passed out taking a nap. So I take the head and I took like a clothes hanger and I hung it up on his rack right above him so that it was like 2 inches from his face. He fucking woke up to this thing like right in his face, dude. He's screaming, like he lost his shit. It was so funny, man.
Fucking thing.
I was torturing him with that stupid little plushie, man. It was hilarious. I got a kick out of it.
You should have kept it. That'd have been just a
I
cool
wish I
thing to
had,
keep.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is funny. That's funny, but like that's something I do. This like some of the kind of person I am. That's something I would do, but if someone done that to me, I think I'd cut their fucking head off.
Like, nope, burning this thing. The hell, you can't get a
Well, yeah,
replacement for it in Iraq.
that's probably what he should have done. I mean, like I say, you set someone on
Right.
fire, you're not getting it.
Because there's no way I would have found another one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like I could go down to the store and just buy another little stupid little plushie doll. But yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, it sounds it. Oh, right then, Joe. Well, I've really enjoyed this. It's been a pleasure having you back in the shed. Do you just want to let our listeners know where they can find you, find the podcast, find the books, all that good stuff?
Okay, so you can find the Tales, Trails, and Taverns books on Amazon. You look up either Claimed as Stars and Chains or Haunted New England, History, Legends, Lores. Use my name, Joseph Gelinas. It'll pop up. We are on. You can find the podcast Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts. It's under Tales, Trails, and Taverns. We have a website. It's talestrailsandtaverns.com, all one word. That is the blog. It's got all the different stories, pictures, everything that we do. You can find us on pretty much every social media. That's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, Threads, all of them. It's all Tales, Trails, and Taverns. It's Tales _ Trails _ and Taverns, all that way, underscore between each word. Where was I? Yeah, social media. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. And you can find everything's out there, man. Just look Tales, Trails, and Taverns. You'll find something that has to do with us. And we drop a new podcast every Monday. We took last summer off. We'll probably take the summer off again. And then also we're kind of be coming out with the movie here pretty soon. It's called The Res by Robert Travers. That should be awesome. He got one of the women who worked on Terrifier 3 to do his special effects, his practical effects. So it's
nice.
Should be a really good gory / like 80s style slasher film with the satanic.
Yeah,
and
that was
it
cool.
was filmed in a haunted forest and at the Lizzie Borden house. So super cool thing to watch out for, super cool thing to check out. When that comes out, I will let you know, and then you can put the links out there. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. It's been an absolute
awesome.
pleasure again. Yeah. I'll put all the links in the show description, obviously, for the books, for your podcast, website, all that good stuff. Right then, guys. So that is it for today. So thank you as always for listening. Go and follow our Instagram page at the Spooky Shed Podcast. There's a link in the bio there for all the other socials that we still don't use. But merch shop's there, YouTube channel's there, Patreon page, all that stuff. And we shall speak to you next time.
Sounds good.